I'm Dangerously Incompetent, and this is a tactical guide for World of Tanks. How Oddball earned his pay in the Magic Forest. I'm driving the T26E4 Super Pershing, USA's premium Tier 8 medium. The battle's on Murovanka, and the Tier 8 is the top tier. Now, there's two generally accepted ways to scout in World of Tanks. There's active scouting, where you drive forward to find the enemy and you rush around and rely on your manoeuvrability and speed to avoid being shot and dying, whilst your sniper allies do the damage. Then there's passive scouting, where you rush forward to a suitable bush or trees and you remain hidden, you don't shoot, you don't give away your position, and you spot the brutish lumbering enemies as they rumble past you, and your sniper allies at the back shoot them and do all the damage. Well, I maintain there's a third way of scouting, the heavy scout. Now, the T26E4 excels at this sort of scouting, as do other heavily armoured vehicles such as the British tank destroyer line with the 82 and so on. Now, with a heavy scout, you move forward until you can see the enemy,
Penetration.
and you find a defensive position which can keep you alive, and you use your armour to your best effect, and you hide as much of yourself as possible behind a low rise or a building or something. And the enemy will then give themselves away by shooting at you and blowing their cover. Now, this spot in Murovanka is okay for this. I've got some trees to help hide me, I've got a bit of a rise to give me some hard cover, and then behind me, where you can see the OI and the Su-152, the OI is using the farm buildings as heavy cover, hard cover rather, and doing sniping from there, and the Su-152 is also using a rise and using some bushes to hide himself in. As aim at CDC, I think if he has got shots, he's using just plain out of spotting distance to avoid being seen and shooting from there.
We didn't penetrate their armor.
So it's a reasonable position. It would be nicer if the rise in front of me was a bit higher or the dip behind it a bit deeper, and then I could get totally covered, total hard cover. Wait until the enemy all lose their spots, then pop up again, spot them all over again, thus minimising the amount of time I can be shot at, and thereby minimising the amount of damage I receive. As it is, I'm bouncing a few shots, they're ploughing a few shots into the rise in front of me, and then a few shots are either getting through or they're hitting my weak spots. Now, they're at a good distance for the T26E4, because they're finding it hard to hit my weak spots because they've got inaccurate gun and they're at a distance, whereas my gun is a bit accurate and I can do damage and hit tracks and so forth.
Enemy armor is hit.
Meanwhile, my snipers are taking a heavy toll of them,
Is damaged.
beating them up, killing them,
Main gun
taking
is
their hit points
damaged.
away,
It's working, but not very
and
well.
totally stalling their advance.
Penetration.
Now, I wanted to show you this one as it was a prime example of how the heavy scout works. And for this battle, I got first mastery badge, I got patrol duty, and I got spotter. I also got things like steel wool and Spartan because they were bouncing shots off me. And now, all in all, having done 2,636 assists, as mostly spotting, maybe some tracking, it all gave me a base XP of 1,306, which is not bad at all. And it gave me a pile of credits as well because, well, it's a T26E4, it's a premium tank. Extra XP and extra credits. Woo. What's the counter to this tactic? Well, the counter is to kill the heavy scout, either by flanking, which is preferable, which they could have done by driving up the 0 column, because that's a dip there, and the OI and the CDC wouldn't have been able to shoot them, and they'd have been able to get my side and finish me off, because my side on T-2064 isn't any good. Failing that, they should have pushed forward in a rush, finished me off, and then jumped in amongst snipers. They'd have taken damage doing that, which is what made them so reticent to do it. The S6 might have thought of that, or he might have just ploughed forward. I don't know. But when he did plough forward, the rest of his team should have pushed forward with him. The Wiz 111 did, but he did it long after it was too late. So the S6 died on his own, and then the Wiz 111 was out on his own and also took a punishing. So that's the heavy scout tactic. And now a strategy guide by Dangerously Incompetent. Yes, that's right. 2 for the price of 1. 2 guides in 1 video. I want you to put your strategy hat on, then go back to the start of the video and watch it all over again. But this time, pay much more attention to the minimap. And when you do so, you'll notice that my team was weak in the east, where I was, and strong in the west, whereas it was the other way around with the enemy. Most of their strength was in the east, facing me, and they had a weaker amount in the west. That's the oblique order strategy all over again. And of course, my job in it, being on the weak side, is to stay alive, to delay the enemy as long as possible. In fact, they delayed them so long, they got so dispirited, they stopped moving forward, and by that time they'd realised the west had fallen. They started looking west, and they were just crushed. Meanwhile, our western side, having the superior numbers and firepower, pushed forward and crushed the weedy opposition in front of them, and then moved forward to take the strong flank of the enemy in the side. So that worked. The counter to this strategy, of course, is either not get stopped or delayed by the weaker flank. They either push forward and crush us, or they leave a couple of vehicles behind to keep us occupied and stop us moving forward, and then move the bulk of their force round to their weaker flank and reinforce it against our offensive push. Now, they did start to do that at the end, but it was far too late for that. It was obvious quite early on in the match where the numbers were in the battle, and they should have moved far earlier or pushed far earlier. So, there you have it. 2 guides for the price of 1 video. Happy tanking!